nothing. I'm talking about calm command, absolute calm and command. Notice that that's essential because, again, without that, you will continue to be fearful. There's no real way around that. One way or another, you have to come to that complete realization. Now, there are some variety of ways to do that. I don't know all of them. I'm going to give you two general categories. One of them is that we'll call it the renunciate path. You go to the Himalayas. It doesn't have to be the Himalayas. That's just a popular destination. But you go to the Himalayas, find a cave, sit there. Don't move. That's it. That's the complete instruction. There's no other part to that. You go to the Himalayas, sit in a cave, sit there, don't move. That's it. That's the complete instruction. Now, are you going to do that? You can go ahead and answer no because you're not, in which case you can know right away that's not for you. Now, if you were, to be honest, that path and the other path, they're kind of the same path, but they look superficially different. Because that path, you know for sure that all that you're experiencing is subjective. Why? Because you're sitting in a cave in the Himalayas. So whatever fantasies are going through your mind, you know that they're only happening in your mind. Hopefully that's clear. But importantly, you will often forget that because that hypnotic power of Maya is still active. Wherever you go, there you are. So if you're in the cave in the Himalayas, your mind is still going to be playing those same tricks on you. That's why it's fundamentally the same path, but it superficially looks different because that path involves going and sitting in a cave. But the other path, which is clearly not the path of the renunciate, that's the path of the one who's still engaged in the world. It's the same path. Remain where you are, don't move. You effectively are sitting in a cave in the Himalayas, except you're outwardly still doing all this. It appears that all this is happening, that you're walking and talking and doing all these things. But inwardly, you recognize and keep telling the truth that all of this is happening in my imagination. Without an exception, all of this is happening in my creative domain. Now, that's very, 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 very difficult to convince yourself of at an objective level, which is why I wouldn't recommend it. Instead, just keep looking and seeing that all of your experience is actually subjective. You never, ever, ever have an objective experience. It's a complete impossibility. Because an objective experience would be something outside of you, but you can't experience something outside of you. Go ahead and try. Prove to yourself right now that you cannot achieve it. Try as hard as you can to experience something outside of yourself. Try to experience something outside of yourself. You can't. All you can experience is subjective experience, meaning something within you. And then you could have an overlay of a thought that says this is happening outside. But where is that thought happening? Subjectively. What is the thought referring to? And it says this is happening outside. Isn't it feelings, vision? It's all the sensory modalities, right? That's what the thought is referring to. The thought says this is happening outside. But the thing that it says is happening outside is all the sensory data. Where is that sensory data? Here, subjective. There's no way around this. Everything that you experience is 100% subjective. It's all happening in consciousness. You are that consciousness. This is a dream. So that's why I'm saying it's the same path. It looks different. Now, what that means is everything that you are experiencing is happening in you. You are the dreamer. This is your dream. All of this is happening in you. Don't try to convince yourself of that everything objective is within you. I mean, that's true, but that you'll usually just tie yourself in knots with that. Instead, just see that everything is subjective. At least all you know about is subjective. You don't know about anything objective because you can't access it. All you can access are your thoughts, your feelings, your vision, all of your sensory modalities. That's all you can experience. It's all subjective. It's all within you. So again, don't try to waste your time and energy proving to yourself that it's all the objective stuff is within you. It is, but you'll just tie yourself in knots. Instead, just see over and over and over, all that I'm experiencing is subjective. See the truth of that. Now, who else is going to exercise creative power here? Is there any possibility of somebody else having creative power here in your subjective experience? Hopefully you can see nobody else can have creative power here. Only you. You're the only one who can have creative power here. Now, imagine for a moment that you are that monk sitting in the cave in the Himalayas. And you are spooking yourself. You are having all kinds of hallucinations. Right? You are hallucinating that all kinds of things are happening. There's a book, and there was a movie made of it, The Last Temptation of Christ, where, I'll give it away, Jesus is Mary Magdalene, and they have a family. I think that's the story. But then here's the twist: is it's all happening to him as a hallucination and a vision as he's on the cross. So it's in a similar way, you are, this is the last temptation of Christ. You are experiencing that presently. As far as you know, you're a monk sitting in a cave in the Himalayas, but you're hallucinating all of this because that's what the monk in the cave is experiencing. Hallucinations that the monk cannot differentiate from objective reality. Why? Because objective reality is only subjective reality. So what you are experiencing is that. What that means is you have complete creative power here. To bring it back to what I was saying before, just see how until you can see that and know that with absolute confidence, you'll continue to experience fear. Because you'll continue to believe that you are a subject in an objective world, that these things are happening outside of you and to you. As long as something's happening outside you and to you, you cannot feel secure. It's not a possibility. You have to know absolutely that you are safe. It's the only way for you to feel secure. Well, how can you know absolutely you're safe if there's something outside of you that can affect you? The answer is you can't. You can try and convince yourself of that forever, and you'll never succeed. You'll get closer and closer and closer. You say, oh, I'm feeling more and more secure, more and more and more and more and more secure, but you'll never be secure enough until you know absolutely beyond a doubt that there's only one thing happening and you are that. Now, as I pointed out before, you can't know that just by having an experience. Because you're having experiences all the time. How can you know that that's the one true experience? If you have that experience, you sit in meditation, blast off into space, and you have this oneness experience, and you say, oh, that's fantastic. I had this amazing spiritual experience, and I'm pretty sure now that I know that all is one. But then you say, oh, but how do I get back to it? Because I'm not experiencing that now. And now I have a doubt because I seem to be experiencing myself as separate, and I'm in pain, and I'm confused, and I'm having problems, and I'm hungry, and I don't know where I'm going to get my next meal. So you have to know through exercising your powers that you are the creator. You have to have that experience with absolute confidence. So there's no doubt.